Watch out for the birds. What the hell you doing?
Sorry.
That's my spot. That's my spot, too.
Any spot in here that isn't yours?
Nope, they're all mine. Want to use it? You gotta pay. Not so fast, Ace. That little thing around your neck, that'll buy you a spot for the day.
No.
The film opens with Frank Leone, a skilled mechanic, diligently working at a garage where he spends his days repairing cars. One afternoon, a woman arrives seeking assistance with her vehicle.
I'm looking for a mechanic.
It soon becomes clear that this woman is Melissa, Frank's girlfriend. Their reunion is warm and affectionate, and they share a joyful moment together. Later that day, we find Frank playing in the park with a group of neighborhood children, while Melissa watches from the sidelines, her face alight with happiness. As evening approaches, Melissa drives Frank to Norwood, the low-security prison where he is currently serving time. Thanks to his exemplary behavior, Frank enjoys the privilege of frequent leaves from the facility. Upon entering the prison, it's evident that Frank has fostered positive relationships with both the guards and fellow inmates, who regard him with affection and respect. Frank's past is marked by a significant event. A few years prior, he had escaped from another prison to visit his dying mentor, a man who had taken him in at the age of 14. This act of desperation stemmed from Frank's deep affection for his mentor, who was gravely ill. However, due to his commendable conduct and the media attention surrounding his escape, Frank was eventually transferred to Norwood. That night, the atmosphere shifts ominously. While Frank is in his cell, a group of aggressive guards bursts in and forcibly removes him.
Get the wrong guy!
Cuffed and bewildered, Frank learns that he is being transferred to a different prison. When he protests about not being informed of this sudden change, the guards coldly inform him that such decisions are made without consultation. Frank is driven to a high-security prison known as Gateway, where he is met by Warden Drumgoole. The sight of Drumgoole shocks Frank.
Drumgoole?
He quickly realizes the reason for his transfer. Drumgoole had been the warden at Treadmoor Prison when Frank had sought permission for a brief leave to see his mentor, a request that had been denied, ultimately prompting Frank's desperate escape. Now, Drumgoole appears intent on exacting revenge. As Frank is shown to his new cell, Captain Meissner, the head guard, outlines the stringent rules that govern Gateway.
1. I am Meissner. 2. Never fuck with Meissner.
Shortly thereafter, he was escorted away by guards for a humiliating delousing procedure. Stripped of his dignity, Frank was ordered to step into a chamber. The guards warned him that the chamber would be filled with gas, which was too toxic to inhale, and instructed him to hold his breath for 30 seconds.
I want you to take a deep breath and hold it for 30 seconds.
However, once that time elapsed, Drumgoole intervened, allowing the gas to linger longer than promised. Frank struggled to breathe, coughing and gasping in distress as the noxious fumes surrounded him. The following day, Frank entered the prison yard and attempted to blend in with the other inmates. Unfortunately, he soon found himself confronted by a group of bullies.
That's my spot. That's my spot, too.
Any spot in here that isn't yours?
Nope, they're all mine. Want to use it? You gotta pay. Not so fast, Ace. A little thing around your neck, that'll buy you a spot for the day.
Bring it up! I said bring it! Back off!
Why, you motherfucker? You're making a big mistake, asshole.
Just as tensions escalated, Captain Meissner intervened to restore order. He demanded that one of the men produce a weapon, but the inmate refused. When Meissner was unable to locate any weapon during a search, he turned to Frank, asking if he had seen anything. Eager to avoid trouble, Frank feigned ignorance and insisted he hadn't seen a thing.
What you cover for him for?
You got your rules, we got ours.
Later on, while mopping the floors, Frank was approached by Dallas, an inmate who recognized him from their previous prison. Dallas expressed his desire for Frank's help in orchestrating an escape, convinced of Frank's capabilities. However, Frank had no interest in such plans and declined the offer. Undeterred, Dallas led him to meet Eclipse in the garage, knowing Frank's mechanical skills could be an asset. Unfortunately, Eclipse was wary of trouble and dismissed them both, insisting they leave his garage despite Dallas's protests. Meanwhile, Melissa arrived at the reception area, hoping to see Frank.
And I want to know what the hell is going on.
The guard on duty informed her that he was currently in the general population and could not be visited. Just then, Meissner appeared and reassured her that Frank was fine.
Leone's all right.
When she pressed for answers about his transfer, given his status as a model prisoner, Meissner explained it was merely a routine procedure.
Why did you bring him here?
Routine transfer.
In the next scene, Frank was diligently cleaning a piece of machinery when Dallas found him again. This time, Dallas had obtained blueprints and shared a daring escape plan with Frank. He pointed out a pipe they could crawl through to make their getaway, followed by a smaller pipe leading to the roof. Frank chuckled at the idea, dismissing it good-naturedly. The pipe Dallas suggested was far too hot to traverse. During lunch, Frank noticed a young and inexperienced inmate sitting alone and decided to join him along with Dallas. The boy jokingly introduced himself as Killer, but his name was First Base, and expressed his reluctance to join their group. Just then, Frank witnessed another inmate casually stab a fellow prisoner before walking away without concern. He turned to First Base and emphasized that survival in this prison depended on sticking together. One day, while hanging out in the yard with First Base, they were provoked into playing a game of football against Chink the Bully and his gang.
Wanna play? They're a man short. Hey! I'm talking to you!
Hey, you know, you got a big mouth. Why don't you keep it shut?
You wanna play, we'll play. You talk to him.
Although Frank faced roughhousing from the opposing team, he proved to be a skilled player. Observing the unfair treatment Frank received,
We got more for you. Come on!
Eclipse grew angry at the sight of him being outnumbered and jumped into the fray.
Looks like you need the help, and I need the exercise.
Together, they managed to win the game. However, their victory celebration was cut short when Chink attacked Frank, injuring him while guards prevented other inmates from coming to his aid. Later that day, Eclipse visited Frank in his cell and extended an invitation for him to work in the garage.
Still interested in the job?
Yeah, I am.
The following day, when Frank arrived at the garage, Eclipse welcomed him with a tour, leading him to an old Ford Mustang tucked away in the corner. Eclipse explained that the car had languished in the garage for over 18 years. Intrigued and inspired, Frank eagerly offered to restore it. Wasting no time, he rolled up his sleeves and began working diligently on the vehicle, showcasing his skills and determination. Soon, he was joined by his new friends, Dallas, First Base, Eclipse, and some other inmates. Together, they poured their efforts into fixing up the Mustang, giving it a fresh coat of paint that breathed new life into the once neglected car. The next day, as Frank and First Base spent time together, First Base confided in him about his long-held dream of learning to drive. Moved by his enthusiasm, Frank agreed to teach him, allowing him to take the wheel and drive around the garage. However, when Frank asked him to turn off the engine,
Okay, turn it off.
First Base stubbornly refused and instead sped out of the garage and into the yard.
First, turn it off, you crazy!
It was there that Frank had no choice but to intervene, pulling first base from the car just as chaos erupted. In a cruel twist of fate,
Leave Frank Leone! Let him go! You're the wrong man. Take Leone to the hole. 6 weeks.
Not his fault, sir. It was mine.
Drumgoole ordered Chink and his gang to destroy the Mustang with baseball bats right before Frank's eyes, intending to inflict emotional pain on him. Following this act of destruction, Drumgoole commanded the guards to take Frank to solitary confinement for punishment. In that dark place, he faced unfair treatment and beatings at the hands of the guards. One day, Captain Meissner discovered the extent of Frank's suffering and was enraged by the injustice. He intervened, forcing the guards away and releasing Frank from solitary confinement. In a rare moment of compassion, Meissner apologized for what had transpired and took Frank back to his cell, handing him letters from Melissa that had been withheld on the warden's orders. Recognizing the unfairness of this action, Meissner felt it was his duty to ensure Frank received them. When Frank returned to the garage the next day, his friends expressed their anger over the injustices he had faced. However, Frank urged them to remain calm, reminding them that he would be free in just 21 days and could endure whatever Drumgoole threw at him until then. Yet, unbeknownst to Frank, Drumgoole had sinister plans in motion. The warden sought a pretext to extend Frank's sentence and allowed Chink and his gang to murder first base in the gym. Upon discovering this horrific event, Frank resolved to take action. He confronted Chink and a fierce fight ensued. In a moment of overwhelming rage, Frank gained the upper hand and considered ending Chink's life, an outcome that would please Drumgoole.
Do it.
However, a voice from within reminded him of the 3 weeks left until his freedom, prompting him to spare Chink's life. Drumgoole, who had been observing from afar, seethed with anger at Frank's decision not to kill Chink. In retaliation for this defiance, one of Chink's accomplices stabbed Frank from behind with a sharp screw. While recovering in the infirmary, Frank was granted a brief visit from Melissa, only 30 minutes due to warden restrictions. Their reunion was abruptly cut short when guards entered to escort her out. Later that night, an inmate from Treadmoor approached Frank in a wheelchair, revealing that he would be released the next day. With malicious intent, he threatened that his first act upon release would be to assault Melissa, showing Frank her picture and igniting a helpless rage within him. As the inmate departed, Frank called out for a guard to allow him a phone call but was met with refusal. Enraged and feeling cornered, Frank turned to Dallas, desperate for a way out. "I need your help to break free," he pleaded. Dallas hesitated, cautioning Frank against such a reckless decision, reminding him that he only had a few days left on his sentence. But Frank, consumed by a sense of urgency, insisted that he couldn't wait that long. Reluctantly, Dallas agreed, and together they devised a plan. That night, adrenaline coursing through their veins, Frank overpowered a guard and bolted from the cells, with Dallas close behind. They crawled through a narrow passage until they reached a crossroads. Frank instinctively felt they should take one path, but Dallas insisted on the other. After a moment of hesitation, Frank conceded, trusting his friend's judgment. However, this trust led them into a trap where the sadistic warden, Drumgoole, lay in wait. With a cruel smile, Drumgoole reveled in Frank's misfortune, declaring that he would now face an additional 10 years for attempting escape for the second time. The warden had orchestrated this entire scenario to make Frank believe that his girlfriend was in danger. In a shocking twist of betrayal, Dallas demanded the reward promised to him, freedom from his life sentence, but Drumgoole denied him, ordering his men to beat Dallas and throw him into the filthy water. As chaos erupted, the guards turned their attention to Frank, who fought back fiercely. Just as he was about to save Dallas, who apologized for his betrayal, one of the guards who had fallen into the water seized Frank from behind. In a moment of selflessness, Dallas intervened. He plunged a wire into the water, electrocuting both himself and the guard to save Frank's life. Seizing the opportunity, Frank took off running, making it appear as though he was escaping the prison. As the guards searched for him outside, Frank stealthily approached Drumgoole from behind and dragged him toward the electrocution chair. Just then, Captain Meissner arrived on the scene and ordered the guards to lower their weapons. In a tense moment, Frank compelled Drumgoole to confess his entire scheme.
Please, Frank, don't kill me. It's true. I confess, Mr. Meissner. Everything that he said was true. I set him up.
When he pulled the switch, nothing happened. He had cleverly powered it off just to force the confession from the warden. As Meissner had Frank taken away, he also ordered Drumgoole into custody despite the warden's protestations that he had merely been playing along. An inquiry was launched into Drumgoole's actions, and ultimately, Frank was allowed to leave prison at the end of his original sentence. When he stepped outside, he met Eclipse one last time, who handed him a cigar as a keepsake of their friendship. Captain Meissner walked with him toward the exit as Frank joked about going to miss the captain's smile.
You know what I'm gonna miss most about you, Captain?
What's that?
Your incredible smile.
Take care of yourself.
Finally, as he walked through the gates of freedom, he spotted Melissa waiting for him. With open arms, and they embraced. Thank you for watching. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, have a wonderful day.